Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Michael Buss.
Hey! I'm Thor, son of Odin, and with me I have the digital transformation hammer. Today I want to hammer home with the idea digital transformation is here. We want to eliminate paper. We want to eliminate manual tasks. Get rid of analog measurement. Let's do this. Let's be bold. Let's be bold. Let's be brave. Overachieve. Lead and disrupt this industry. We are ready to go. Let's do this. And now I'm Michael. So in this keynote, I want to talk about digital transformation in projects and operational excellence. We have two parts. Part one is really focusing on projects, and later this afternoon, operational excellence. So when we talk about this, I think you know change is happening. Change is happening in the industry. Companies are merging. Companies are getting together. Companies getting bankruptcy. So digital transformation is happening and it's needed in different ways. In this keynote, I want to show you several customer examples, but also at the end, announce a new digital transformation practice that can help you to implement digital transformation. When we look in the whole overall life cycle, I mean, today in projects, there's engineering, there's procurement, there's construction. In engineering, actually a lot of information is already created. Remember, I think 20 years ago, 2D was normal, but now in engineering, we talk about 3D. So my point is, a lot of information is already available, it's already digitized. But further along we go into procurement, it's less digitized. A lot of information is coming via paper from your suppliers, paper exchange. And when we go into construction, it's just even less digitized. So that means the information flow is just not there. You have all this data coming from engineering, less into procurement, less into construction, and then less into operations. But I think we have technology available actually enable the whole information flow from A to Z. And specifically procurement and construction costs are high. When you look in a project, I think 85% is procurement and construction, the material and the labor. And more data information they have, even better. So when I now look in your companies, how we can help you. So from Hexagon PPM, we are thinking you have obviously departments like HR. Everybody has HR. We have finance, business development, marketing departments. We have the same. Hexagon PPM, I think we are focusing on your project executions. We want to actually crash the doors, getting in and do something in your planning, design, in your execution, in your procurement department, in your construction department. That's what we want to do. And you know, we do have the whole life cycle. And we mentioned this already several times, but I want to give you today examples how this all fits together in what customers are saying. So we have the whole life cycle from the design, procurement, fabrication, construction, and here you see a little bit completions. I will come to this later. So digital transformation, why we do this, why we do digital transformation, is you want to be more competitive, you want to save costs, you want to be faster and all this. But there's one thing I want to highlight is it's also important to improve the customer experience. Like, I think the airline industry, everybody flew in today, right? Or a couple days ago. And there are no paper tickets anymore. It's mobile app. So they have an application to pick your seats, to see which gate you arrive, and all this. This is now the expectations, and that's the reason perhaps you think, okay, to improve customer experience, that is what Delta or United Airlines did. Because you're not booking anymore manually and all this. So when we go through digital transformation, there's also an opportunity to suggest new services to your customers. Let your customers, the owners, perhaps participate in your execution, that they see information flow, like you want to see what's happening with your flight. And this will create, I think, customer happiness. And the Harvard industry, I think you can see this from the Harvard Business School, if you improve customer retention by 5%, your business profits will go up by 50%. So it's important to keep customers happy, because customer expectations are growing. And it's the same, like we have now a new offering. This goes around, okay, now we have this life cycle, and your customer wants to be involved. The owner wants to be involved in the execution. Other stakeholders, vendors want to be involved in your execution. And we want to announce here a new collaboration platform. So I'm getting on stage Mike Montgomery.
Thank you, Michael. That's a hard act to follow. I don't know how I'm going to measure up to Thor. Good morning. A lot of you will remember me from last year when I previewed our upcoming release of our new collaboration solution, what we are now calling SDX Projects. SDX Projects is a collaboration platform that supports the incremental building of the digital twin during the project phase of the asset lifecycle. Well, a lot changes in a year. We had our first product release at the end of last year, and we've rolled it out successfully on a feed stage of a mega project in Houston. As a reminder, SDX Projects replaces the traditional approach of exchanging project information using emails and file transfers and shared drives with a common platform that allows project participants to work together and share information. Each person only sees the information that is appropriate for them. And business rules make sure that people are reviewing the right information. They can track the critical information, and they can find all of the resulting actions and track those to closure. So let me tell you about our first deployment. Due to confidentiality constraints, I can't really say who this is, but it is a major oil and gas company in Houston. They approached us, and they wanted to increase the effectiveness of their specialists. They wanted to onboard the project deliverables and make sure that they got the right quality checking. Because of the global nature of their projects, their contractors are scattered around the world. And so they had a lot of communication challenges. And each contractor was using their own system, so that made training difficult, and it also meant that they couldn't be consistent from project to project. And it also meant that measuring project performance was difficult. And they wanted to optimize the review time for their specialists. They wanted an automated way to route the information to the specialists wherever they were in the world. Previously, they provided their business rules to the contractors, and the contractors would try to fulfill those business rules, but that didn't really work out very well. SDX focuses their reviewers on the right information, and it makes it easier for people to find what they're looking for. It prevents communications from getting lost in email inboxes, and it streamlines the process. It's a single source of truth for project information, and it provides a consistent approach from project to project, which makes measuring project performance easier. Ultimately, the pilot was deemed successful, and the company has decided to use it on all new downstream projects going forward. And in fact, they're rolling it out on 5 new projects right now. And with that, I'll hand it back to Thor.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Applaud. I was just thinking, do I need the hammer again? But I will be fine in a moment. Let's talk about design, but also transformation. There's a difference between change being incremental and change being transformational. Incremental means we just do things a little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit. We do this and this and this. But when you always change incrementally, it really gets tiring for your organization, because every year you do something. Transformational is basically, let's do something completely different. Let's rethink what we're actually doing and what we're offering to our customers. And rethink our work processes. It's not just now putting technology in place or just talk people or just talk processes. It needs to be together. So you hear a lot more from Hexagon PPM when we have meetings that we say, okay, here's the technology, but also let's talk about work processes and put a work process diagram together. That we really see what's new as is and what's to be. And then you can communicate this to people. They know then what is expected and what's coming. And here's a good example. So my friend IHI, John Coffin, I want to share with you how they implemented the integration, talking about silos, talking about workflows and what they have done.
So we've been using Intergraph products since 2013. Within the last year, we have started a transition to Smart 3D. The big driver behind the transition was to move towards a more integrated solution. We're moving now with the implementation of Enterprise Smart 3D to help get all of our design disciplines working on the same platform. So we've had traditionally a lot of issues with silo execution. The ability for all design disciplines to see visually what they're working on in one environment is one of the primary drivers that we're trying to get out of the implementation of S3D. One of the issues we had in terms of problems that started the transition to using the Intergraph applications, there still was a lot of silo activity going on. We had a lot of engineering activity that was happening within Excel, on spreadsheets. We had a lot of activity that was happening outside of the system where we didn't really have visibility in terms of design development. So the push for the integration of the Hexagon products was to really get it on a platform that promoted transparency across the entire organization. Some of the steps we've gone through to create a fully integrated environment, we spent a lot of time looking at the workflow as it is now, trying to understand where the gaps are in the current workflow, and identifying areas where we had a lot of manual input to focus on, and also identifying areas where we saw significant inconsistencies. Some of the benefits that we're seeing from having a fully integrated suite of software, where targeting productivity improvements in terms of cost to a 30% reduction of what we're currently executing. And we're seeing a lot of benefits around communication and collaboration, so that we see the project team starting to really talk together and collaborate on the same basis. One of the benefits we're seeing for Smart Plant Materials, we've deployed the portal, so we're starting to see vendor interaction through the Smart Plant Materials portal. We're also using Smart Plant Materials to really help us with materials management at the site level. And we're also using the integration with S3D and the P&Is to ensure that we've got alignment in all of the procurement activities required for the project. We are focused more on reducing rework, focusing on quality, and really starting to drive the productivity component instead of just driving a straight low-cost solution based on work hours. The focus that IHI is looking at, we are starting our transformation into a digital environment. Hexagon PPM is part of that transformation. We're targeting that integrated delivery system to help us be more competitive and to really drive down the costs that we need to be competitive in the capital market field.
If you know, I'm not sure if you know John, but he's very humble. And look what he said. So it's a partnership together we had with IHI and Hexagon PPM, helping them actually do this journey through the digital transformation. So, and also we have also learned that our application needs to be simpler, needs to be better integrated, needs to be faster and easier, and specifically with a better user interface. So this goes me to procurement, where we in Intergraph PPM, Hexagon PPM, investing in a complete new user interface for procurement to make this easier. So if we are coming out with a too complex system because there's a change in your company, you want that the end users will say, this is great. I like to use the software. I like to use it. This is good. I like to use these new work processes. They're really helping me. So, and it's also what I see in procurement, a lot of, let's say, existing customers having a lot in-house applications. Perhaps in the whole supply chain, talking about engineering application, requisitioning application, traffic, all different silos. What we have where we can help you is an application that's totally integrated for your supply chain, including your suppliers. And this is a new user interface we are working on. So very easy to use. Click the buttons. Here's what we need to do. New user interface, charts. You can control yourself, like in Excel, for everybody. But then you're wondering, why do I need this? Why is this so important? We do have Excel sheets. On Excel sheets, I can just put all the bill of materials in. What our system does, obviously, is it's not just 10 bill of material items. It will be 500 million records. And we go through, in our procurement system, to summarize it, put this in the purchase system engine, go through traffic and receive. So that you know, when you do materials tracking, you know exactly every time where it is on your mobile device with our latest mobile scan. And here's a great story from my friend Jeff Ryan from Inside about materials usage in the yard. What happens if you just have your own private Excel sheet? Because it will not work.
I think we are on the cusp of the golden age of information management. And I don't say that lightly. I actually say that with great expectations. So we started using Smart Construction as a project planning tool about 3 years ago. It developed into a holistic project planning tool about 1 year ago, where we started using it for engineering and procurement and not just construction. So we have got rid of that whole process of what we called managing the message. So the contractors would manage their message. Basically, they wrote their own report cards. And of course, that created surprises. They would, if they had bad news, they were always hesitant about letting it out and whether they should tell us or not. And now, of course, we own the news. We have Smart Construction, which is the central point of all truth. We have seen great benefit from smart materials, and we know that because we had a project where we didn't use it. And of course, the very best lessons you ever learn in life are the ones that you learn firsthand. So we had a project that was, we're basically trying to manage materials in Excel. The guys in the yard were all well-meaning, all trying to do a good job. They would unload a truck and store the stuff, and then try to make notes on what they had and where they put it down, usually on the back of cigarette packs or napkins, and then that would come to the office, and the lady there would put it into Excel, and we tried to keep a record of what we had. Well, we got halfway through the project and we realized that we had a yard that nobody knew about. So that's how crazy things can get. So we had a yard full of steel and pipe and valves, and nobody on the project knew about it except these yard guys who knew that they were using that as an overflow. Now, none of that stuff had made it onto an Excel spreadsheet. So now we start reordering all of that steel and pipe because nobody can find it, nobody knows where it is. So now we're doubling the expense because we're trying to get fabrication shops to build the stuff in a hurry and get it to us. So we're standing around on site waiting for it. We're paying the fab shops a premium to get it to us as fast as possible. And when it gets there, one of the guys is like, hey, we've got some stuff just like this over there. So then we realize that there's another yard. So smart materials, when we apply it, basically gets us on top of all of that. We understand with absolute acute definition, what do we have, where is it, what do we need? And that's actually really important. But of course, smart materials populated by smart construction and smart plant 3D tells you exactly what you need, and then of course what you've got, so you can see the delta between them. So a world of difference. When you move smart construction to the cloud, what happens is it moves from being a construction tool to being a project management tool. And we didn't know that until we did it. And when you do that, you basically revolutionize the idea of data and reporting, because now we don't ask for reports, we tell people what they got done. Very simple. It's just the key is having the data in the first place. So smart construction is 90% of that data. When we make smart construction work and we show people what it is, their jaw drops on the floor and they're like, I always thought this information was out there. I always knew that I could get my hands on it. And of course, that's going to become common. It's not just a flash in the pan. It's going to become the way that we do business.
So I think Jeff was saying, I mean, you can read this, it's just a new way of doing business. They enabled getting all this information from 3D into procurement, into construction. And he was not just talking procurement and not just talk construction. I also see now customers always talk about solutions in a global picture, not just one product, one feature. And I think that's a new way of business. Also talking to you in different way, talking in work processes, talking in a language, and not so much product orientated anymore. And enable the information flow really from engineering into construction completion, and then finally to handover. Let's go to fabrication. Fabrication is getting more and more obviously important compared to, instead of having a job site fabrication, have fabrication in a controlled environment. And fabrication in a controlled environment really looks like more in a manufacturing place, manufacturing tasks. If you have manufacturing, you have a material warehouse that will be consumed. You have the machines, pipe bending machines, pipe cutting machines, and all this. And you want to make sure that the machines are working 100% every time. There's obviously also labor involved, people, the welders and all this. But we see a lot of enhancements about automatic welding, robot welding, and companies now just improving their work process in the fabrication yard. So what we have done is we have a solution that enables basically better production, improving productivity for your machines, and have a user interface as a manager of this plant where you can see really what's going on. And here you have heard perhaps about Hexagon Exalt, Hexagon Catavolt. Here was the first usage of Catavolt, where we put information together from different sensors, from different machines and different software systems, all connected. And I think this is one of the first steps in Industry 4.0 in our place. Very, very exciting. There will be much, much automation. And I've seen this. So I was out there in Malaysia, and I've seen a machine that basically the 3D model came in with all the geometrics into the machine, and it starts bend, and it starts weld. So it's very, very interesting. So that's, I think, change is happening here also in fabrication yards. And then I will come to module fabrication in a second. So that's our fabrication, but now construction. As you can see, we really can help you with the different solutions we have that are connected. So from procurement to fabrication, and then to construction. One of the new things that's happening, and you know, and it's happening perhaps already since 3 years, 5 years, is modularization more and more and more. So items basically are not built anymore here locally at the job site, or in Kazakhstan, or wherever it is. Modules are coming in from different places in the world. And this makes it much, much more complicated, but the productivity is much, much higher building these modules. So what you need to do is, there's a complete new logistic challenge. You might have a module yard in Malaysia, or a module yard in Korea or China, wherever you have, and then put the modules right time on a ship, right time ship will arrive in Houston, so you can build your plant. And customers are doing this. I see now really a lot of stuff is now outsourced into module yards building this. But this requires a new thinking how you want to do this. So I think I will see that 90% of these projects applying this new ideas and logistics really make sense to lower costs. So if you put procurement together, the items will get delivered to the right module yards. In a controlled environment, you build this, you know? So this really makes sense. I think 50% we can improve in procurement. 50% of our user base have legacy systems. In construction, I see 95% of our customers have their own in-house tools. Also, this requires to rethink what you are doing. We are obviously solution company, you are the project company. So we like to help you, obviously, with our solutions. So when we look in construction, one thing that we have there is a better planning. And I always say, smart construction enables you, our construction planning and construction execution with the mobile device to save 1 hour per day. This is big. So because we did a study, productivity was 3.7 hours, now productivity is 4.6 hours. And these numbers are coming from the industry and basically are publicly available, saying, if you do a better planning, you know, then you will save with smart construction 1 hour per day. And if you have 10,000 workers, it's 10,000 hours per day. It is a lot of money per day, 200,000 or whatever it is. So now we thought about the new way of plan your construction. A new smart construction release came out a month ago with new features, with new highlights of new ways of plan your execution. Modules there, fabrication yards here, final job site here. So you want to need an animation how this all fits together, when this module needs to come and the other module needs to come in which sequence. So we have a new, let's say, construction work package engine, and it's not manual. There's an engine behind it that's rule-driven. Based on these properties, based on this information, I want to create these modules. I want to create these construction work packages Then you play with the schedule, and then you look, does this make sense? And this is perhaps for the major EPCs. But then you have subcontractors. Subcontractors using smart construction, then executing the construction work packages. So they need an animation. Okay, I have now my construction work package I need to do for this specific module, and then do a module animation, very detailed, 6 weeks before the work. Is the material all there? Does it all make sense in all this? And then you see then you can have a Gantt chart there and then run this. So I think that's a new way of working, new way of business that also Jeff Ryan from Insight was saying. This just opens new ways how you can reuse informations that was generated from your previous departments in engineering and procurement. So there's no blue box around completions. You see that? It's obviously on purpose. We had the request, hey, we have now all this information flow, but then we had a gap for completion and commissioning. So the data flow stops there. Oh, there's a gap. We need to do something here. So I'd like to announce that actually beginning this year, we acquired a company that actually helps us to fill this gap. So now we have an offering for completion and commissioning, and by acquiring former IBS, and you might have heard the name Continuum. So it's very interesting. So there was also a little story. So I met the former president of IBS, and I was really, when I saw him in the presentations, how he really had the completion lingo when he was talking with our customers, it was amazing. So I thought, we need to get these guys on board so they can help you in the digital transformation. So when I really looked into this, so now we can have also a blue box around this. And one of the reasons really I selected this company is because of it's very highly configurable in the system. So I do have web page, so all is a web page basically. Go to next. It's basically a cloud-driven software based on a web page. So we had, it's highly configurable, and specifically what I like is the automated package builder. You don't create test packages manually. Think about it. Sure, you do this today. How many test packages? I don't know, 10,000? There's logic in the system based on equipment types, based on loop test types or whatever it is, based on the system, and then based on these test points, inspection points, it will run an engine and creates test packages and test forms automatically. Not in 2 days, not in 2 hours, in 10 minutes, it will generate 100 test packs. Done. Because the focus of the software is not around creating test packs, test packages, it's around executing them and making it easy for the QA and QC guys. Easy meaning put this on a mobile device, on a tablet, no paper. So they have a user interface that's very easy to use. So there's a user interface on the web you can use, and then there's a user interface completely on the tablet. The user interface on the tablet looks like your test form, exactly in the same way. And you can change the test form. It's configuration, it's not customization, just to make it easy. And all this data will flow in our systems, and all this data captured from the QA/QC cycle will go over to the operation and maintenance. So I think that's very interesting, and we had great success. I mean, perhaps you have already seen it at the zone. smart completions, but here's some feedback. One commissioning manager was saying, I really like the configuration. I only need to train the people once, and when the project has different needs, I just change some configuration, and I don't need to go to a new tool. I can always use the same tool in every project. And that makes it easy. Another one was saying, he really likes the creation of test packages I was mentioning, just the speed, how this gets done. So also the speed, how to implement this information, how to implement the solution, it's easy to do. So, and another one basically saying, all the data we are getting, it's very easy. And it's putting in smart forms, that's the technology, on the mobile and tablet. There was an execution in Calgary with Suncor where the whole QA, QC cycle, the whole completion commissioning cycle was done on a tablet. There was no paper, and then there additional photos, and then it all went into the database. So very, very interesting. And we put this all together to help you. So we are putting together the completion with construction, with P&ID, and all this. So that's the whole life cycle. I think I highlighted a little bit what we have. So we want to go away from product thinking. We want to really thinking about solutions, work processes, how we can help. Don't use existing work processes you have. But then it comes to a question, okay, Michael, I mean, yeah, I see this, but how does it work? I'm still afraid. I don't know how this looks like. You know? So we thought about it, and now with this, I wanted to announce a new digital transformation practice by Joe Murray.
Good morning, everyone. This presentation, going out to the zone, has really highlighted the amount of technology and the level of technologies that are available from Hexagon to achieve that journey of digital transformation. But I think we've all recognized, and this slide really highlights it, that technology alone is only part of the journey to get to that point where customers and organizations are able to embrace and gain value from digital transformation. And so Hexagon has recognized that this is fundamental to their success, Hexagon's success, as well as our customers' success. And as we look at what are the issues? What are the impediments to have organizations embrace these new technologies, to be able to look at the processes? Very common things that we all see, that fear of change in general, change is perceived as risk. Things like not a certain ROI. What is the investment and what is the risk associated with the investments? Things like readiness. Areas such as in the new world, what are the skills and competencies that we're going to need to be able to gain full value from digital transformation? And last but not least is to get the organizations to be able to embrace and to support and to move forward in their transformation journey. And so as Hexagon faced this challenge of we have the technologies to be able to help that transformational journey, but this reluctance of organizations to take it on, the conception of the digital transformation practice was created. And as we'll see here in just a second, we believe it is a vital link between the Hexagon organization and the customers to be able to realize the value, to be able to create the ROI of digital transformation and the technologies that we see here. So fundamentally, what we believe is the ability to provide for all of us a safe space. This is a key concept, a safe space for each of us to be able to innovate in the area of digital transformation is a key part of the journey. And so the digital transformation practice is about being able to bring together technologies that we're seeing here during this week, to be able to show how they fit in a consistent and coherent way, the work processes that we're doing, and as one person said, not providing automation to the existing way that we do work, but in fact to be able to show and to be able to work in a collaborative way, what are the to-be work processes? What do the technologies enable to help us be able to move to that next level of productivity? And so very important in this safe space concept is the ability to show, the ability to test, the ability to understand, and the ability to then innovate as a result across each of our organizations. So fundamentally then, what that digital transformation practice experience is in engaging with you, our customers, is this ability on the one side to go and be able to envision the future, to be able to see in one coherent, consistent environment with full plant data, what are the impacts, what are the possibilities, where are we going in terms of the technologies? Essentially being able to envision the future. Though as we've heard this during this week, that future is getting quicker and quicker and closer to us. Then to be able, in a very logical way, to be able to say, okay, where are we today? What is our current set of practices? What is our technology approach? And obviously then, number three, to be able to look at that delta between the art of the possible and where we're going today, and to be able to create, therefore, a tangible action plan. Again, the whole key of the practice is not just to be able to understand, but to transform that understanding into something that is actionable and work is getting done. And then last but not least then, through the practice, to be able to execute on some of these transformational strategies, to understand what are the processes that we can do to be able to optimize schedule, cost, quality, reliability, predictability, and to be able to do that in the context of a transformational approach. So we are very excited at, I'll call it, the other part of the transformational bridge that Hexagon can bring. We think it's an important piece in terms of being able to go forward in this digital transformation journey between Hexagon and all of our customers. So essentially then, what you should expect from the digital transformation practice and what you can in fact be able to seek is, number one, as a result of that knowledge, to be able to reduce the perceived investment risk. So this is something that obviously is fundamental to our industry. How do we reduce risk? How do we maximize the opportunity for success? To mitigate the fear of change, not because there isn't change, but through the understanding of the change that we need to occur to be able to gain that confidence and to be able to go forward. This area of skills and competency, extremely important for all of our organizations. What is the knowledge worker in the next generation of plant delivery, next generation of plant operations going to need? What are the skills that we're going to need to have? Be able to then obviously get the full organization buy-in, to be able to have the support to be able to achieve the transformational objectives that we have. And in general, pulling this together to achieve a set of organizational confidence which will allow each of us to be able to embark on that transformational journey, different priorities, different milestones, maybe even different speed, but to be able to do that with a level of certainty that will allow the organizations to be able to succeed. So with that, thank you very much.
Just stay here for a second. Oh. So this is really exciting, Joe. So I think that enables us also really to talk to really decisions makers because they can see what's really happening.
Yeah, I think, Michael, you're right. I think one of the things that, that really is pointed out is this need in the transformational journey to get all of the organization together. And the practice is very much focused on not only the display of technology, but more importantly, things like ROI. Things like risk abatement, and to be able to address many of the C-level questions. And it's interesting. I think all of our executives know about digital transformation. In fact, the boards ask them, well, what's your digital transformation strategy?
Right.
And I think what we're trying to do is to provide through the digital transformation practice, how do you do that? What are the strategies that can be achieved? And in this safe collaborative mode to be able to collectively move forward.
And also we changed. I mean, we actually put all this information together, all our own products together in an environment that can be really touched and felt.
Yeah.
You know, so that makes, I think, a great difference.
This is such, and it's a link that all of us are technologists, and we tend to believe that the ability to produce a technology is all you need. And I think we've all learned, we all know that that is not the end of the journey. Right. It's helping and to promote the organization's ability to embrace these things. And that's what the transformation practice is very much focused on.
I think there's a discussion later this morning.
Very good point. One of the areas, of course, that Michael talked about is construction. Construction gets a tremendous amount of attention, some good, some not so good. And we're really going to address, I think it's at 10 o'clock this morning, really a panel of some very strong experts in the construction industry addressing this question, well, what does digital transformation mean and what are the opportunities in the construction industry for getting the benefits of digital transformation? So if this is a very good example of how do we apply these technologies in the construction processes.
So we have CII here, we have University Marquette here,
sure.
And then two EPCs talking about transformation in room 804. Okay, thanks, Joe.
Very good, Michael. Thank you.
All right. So I think I put this one now away because I want to go back to the hammer. So, remember this hammer? The digital transformation hammer? So, I think it's time now to go away from analog. So, now let's go away with analog to digital. Oh, that was powerful, that was fun. So, it's a digital world out there, right? So what's next? Let's get rid of paper. So we do have mobile application. It's now a mobile world out there. Everything is mobile. Why are we not using mobile in our business? You use it every day. So let's get rid of silos, crush them. So data needs to be integrated. Data needs to flow from A to Z to operations. What stops you? Fear. Be bold. Thank you.